Saturn transit or Shani Payarchi will happen on the 29th of March 2025. In this introductory video, I aim to first outline Saturn's transit in Meena, which will last until the 22nd of February 2028. This Saturn transit is going to be interesting. In 2025, he'll be moving from Kumbha to Meena. In 26, he will remain firmly in Meena. But in 2027, he does a mini transit into Aries before returning to Meena. His proper transit into Aries will happen in 2028. So basically, Saturn will be busy covering a total of 3 Rashis within the next 3 years. Some are already asking whether the upcoming Saturn transit is going to be for 3 years. Well, if you subtract Saturn's temporary journey into Aries in 27, the transit then follows the usual 2.5 years. I started this channel to clear misconceptions and misperceptions surrounding Vedic astrology, especially when it comes to Saturn and Ketu. To make matters worse, some call them the power grahas, as though Saturn and Ketu has no other better work to do than bring you misfortune. Saturn is the supreme coach. Without Saturn, your whole life will be devoid of purpose. Without Ketu, you will lack access to your past life lessons. You will be devoid of intuition. Without both, you will go again and again into this painful cycle of life, death, and rebirth, unable to attain moksha. Alright, the individual experience of going through the Saturn transit is like attending college. With term breaks and year-end holidays, some semesters can also be heavier than the others. Why do I say that? Here is where you need to pay attention to Saturn's retrograde and his transit through each nakshatra. I will go through the details towards the end of this video. Alright, by now we all know that Saturn is moving into Meena, Pisces. What is Meena Rashi? What does it signify? Meena Rashi is the 12th sign of the Zodiac. What is the 12th sign? The end, spirituality, pilgrimage, afterlife, sleep, waste, hospitals, jails, drug rehabilitation centers, the underprivileged and marginalized people in the society, the homeless. There will be a shake-up involving all these areas. So for example, Saturn's entry into Meena is going to expose the true nature of some of the fake Gurujis and spiritual healers. Those who truthfully dedicate their life to a charitable cause, non-profit activity, they are the ones who will gain prominence. Saturn will back them. Saturn will also help marginalized people gain prominence, fight for their right. Along with Ketu's transit through Simha, leaders who oppress their people are going to fall. There will be the end of major wars and disputes or disagreements. There will be more scrutiny on wasteful public expenditure and government leakages the world over. Meena is a watery sign. Saturn will go there and slow down the water, the fluids. So health-wise, those suffering from chronic sinus, leg swelling, varicose veins, slow passage of urine, they will need to pay more attention. If you dwell in a house, you will have issues with blocked drains and sanitation pipes, leaking this, leaking that, especially for Sagittarius or Dhanush Rashi individuals, because Meena is the 4th house counted from Dhanush. 4th house is for what? Comforts, conveyance. If you own a car, imagine all those areas where there is movement of fluid. You have hydraulics working for the brakes, coolant system, fuel pump. You figure it out. Sea travel will prosper, especially bulk movement of crude oil. There will be return to glory of cruise ships. Human trafficking activities will continue to get exposed in a grand manner. Fishermen will earn well. Marine conservation will become a popular term. What else does Meena signify? Meena is a dual sign. In astrology, we have fixed signs, movable signs, and dual signs, and Meena is a dual sign. Meena individuals are always in two minds. Shall I say this or say that? Shall I do this or do that? Plan A, plan B. Now Saturn is going to step in and say, hey, can you please make up your mind? Can you learn to say something firm and come clean with your principles. So Meena individuals, you have to come clear. What are you going to do with yourself? And Meena individuals are also good listeners. They have a lot of compassion towards others. So those professions related to community service, psychologists, psychiatry, counseling, all this is going to prosper. Okay, let's go on to the nakshatras. The first nakshatra I'd like to mention is Purva Bhadrapada or Puratadi. To those who are unfamiliar, there are 27 nakshatras divided equally into the 12 zodiac signs. The smallest segment of a nakshatra is called a pada. Each nakshatra has a total of 4 padas. There are 3 nakshatras within Meena. What are those? 1/4 of Puratadi, because the other 3/4 or 3/4 is in Kumbha. Only 1/4 is in Meena. All 4 padas for Uttaratadi and all 4 padas for Revati. Revati is the last nakshatra in the whole zodiac belt. At the time this video is published, Saturn is already in Puratadi. He has been there since December 2024. The ruler of Puratadi is Jupiter. The ruler of Meena is also Jupiter. But the first 3 padas or 3 parts of Puratadi is in Aquarius, which is ruled by Saturn. So it's like you are in this car which is driven by Saturn. I'm referring to Puratadi people. The first 3/4 of your journey, Saturn was driving in his own country. Now Saturn is still in charge of the wheels. He's still driving. But now he's crossing into Meena territory, the last 1/4 of the journey. This is no more Saturn's territory. This is now under Jupiter. So Saturn is not completely powerful in Meena. He respects Jupiter as an equal. They are neutrals. So Saturn will continue his rule in Puratadi until the 27th of April 2025. Now Saturn's entry into Meena on the 29th of March will mark the beginning of a smoother journey for you overall. I will call this the first phase, and during this phase, the nakshatra lord will be Jupiter. And where's Jupiter? Jupiter is currently in Rishabham. On a side note, I would like to congratulate the Puratadi nakshatra individuals because your nakshatra lord Jupiter was actually in retrograde motion until the 5th of February. This would have left you completely exposed to the lessons of Saturn with minimal backing from your nakshatra lord Jupiter. Thankfully, this period is now over and things will improve even further beyond the 29th of March. So cheer up. After Puratadi, Saturn then moves on to Uttra Bhadrapada or Uttratadi. But during his period of retrogression, he re-enters Puratadi between October 5th, 25 until January 18th, 26. I shall call this the phase 2. The phase 2 for Puratadi. Within phase 2, the first half will be a retrograde portion. This is between October 5th to November 27. The second half will be a direct motion, which is from November 27, 25 until January 18, 26. So for Puratadi, it's like you are going through your final semester in college right now. Your worst semesters are over. That is all over. This semester is the easier one. Your current semester ends on the 27th of April 25. If there are units you fail in this semester, subjects you fail, you will need to revisit and resit the papers between October 5th, 25 until the 18th of January 2026 when Saturn revisits your nakshatra. Don't look at it from a negative perspective. Think of it as your second chance. But during the second phase, your nakshatra lord Jupiter will be in retrograde. Jupiter turns retrograde between the 12th of November 25 and this will last until the 11th of March 26. So during that period, Jupiter cannot really back you up. So you can consider the second phase slightly tougher than the first phase. In the second phase, you are really on your own. Saturn progresses again into Uttaratadi by January 18, 2026. So for the Uttratadi Nakshatra individuals, you better remember the Pongal festival 2026. When Pongal starts, your Pongal starts. That will be the start of your difficult semester. And your difficult semester comes to an end by May 16, 2026. That's 4 months of intense rule by Saturn. He then leaves to Revati. Before turning retrograde within Revati, that's between July 27 until October 10, 26. Interestingly, the retrogression of Saturn in 2026 is not only going through Revati, but also again through Uttratadi. When is this? Between October 10 until December 11, 26. From December 11, 26, he then turns direct and leaves Uttratadi for good. When is this? February 7, 2027. At this point, you may have noticed the whole video has become somewhat very academic. I'm getting very technical due to two special reasons. Dear Uttratadi folks, please listen. Firstly, the ruler of Uttratadi is Saturn himself. So, of course, he will take extra care of his own nakshatra. Not only that, point number 2 is even more interesting. Saturn will make a total of 3 journeys back and forth in your nakshatra. He enters, turns retrograde, he leaves, he re-enters, he leaves, and re-enters through another retrograde, turns direct, and finally leaves you only by February 2027. Don't take it in a negative way. Saturn is ironing you like his favorite shirt. He wants it crisp and proper. Among the 3 nakshatras in Meena, the Uttratadi will be the one receiving the most attention from Saturn. He is like an army general inspecting a parade. First he walks past, stops in front of you, adjusts your chin, adjusts your cap. He turns back. He comes another round and adjusts your belt and your collar. He looks at you from top to bottom. He walks away. And shortly, he comes back. And now he's checking your shoes, making sure that your shoes are well polished. And he's seeing what else needs to be corrected. That's because if Saturn is the general, Uttratadi Nakshatra individuals are like his own army cadet. He wants his cadet to be the best cadet in the parade. So this is good for you actually. You may want to bookmark this video and come back often to revisit these dates that I'm mentioning. Now the last star, Revati, also like Uttratadi, receives 3 direct and 2 retrograde phase of Saturn. Revati, which is ruled by Mercury, first welcomes Saturn on May 16, 2026. Within Revati, Saturn turns retrograde from July 27 until October 10, 2026. Re-enters Revati on February 7, 2027, but leaves for a while to Ashwini on June 2, 2027. He finally returns to Revati only on October 21st, 2027. The retrograde motion ends on December 24th, 27. And final departure from Revati will be on February 22nd, 2028. The nitty-gritty details of the retrogrades are beyond the scope of this video. But what you need to understand is Saturn's transit through each nakshatra is filled with ups and downs. If you're working on an important project, when Saturn is direct, the project appears to head in the right direction. A bit slow maybe because the responsibility that you're carrying on your shoulders, but there is a clear sense of direction and at least you can see some progress with your efforts. When Saturn turns retrograde, there can be confusions and delays, or you can sense an overall lack of support or loss of direction. If you want to hear about the approach to retrogrades, you can check out the link above or in the video description. I meant to touch on one more star, Ashwini, but that's just too much detail for now. Let me summarize that Saturn does a mini transit into Mesha or Aries between June 2nd to August 10th, 2027. So for the Mesha Rashi folks who are still watching, good on you. Now you know Saturn will come to say hello to you in 2027 itself, before his final grand entry into your Rashi by February 2028. And to those who are still watching and listening, have you heard about Newton's third law in physics? For every action, there will be an equal and opposite reaction. This is also true in the law of karma. For every sorrow, misfortune, or destruction you bring upon others, you too will need to go through the same sorrow, misfortune, destruction. You have to bear the same emotional burden in your life. When I say life, it can be this life or next life. If you want to blame Saturn for all the sufferings you're going through, ask yourself first, what horrible things you may have done to others in your past life. Reflect, introspect, accept, and submit yourself to his feet. He will not only show you the way, perhaps he will show you some compassion too. Good luck.